So I am a huge fan of the Electronic Wireless Show. That is one of Rock Paper Shotgun's many podcasts. But I think it's honestly like one of the best podcasts out there. If you're at all into video games and you like funny British people bantering with each other, you should definitely check the Electronic Wireless Show out. Recently, though, they were all aflutter because somebody over on the Apex Legends team put a Rock Paper Shotgun Electronic Wireless Show Easter egg into Apex Legends. There is a skin now for Lifeline called Alabaster Titan, which is, honestly, I barely even understand it myself. It is an in-joke for the Electronic Wireless Show listeners. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on, I'm a game developer, and I listen to the Electronic Wireless Show, and I'm not going to be outdone by some game called Apelegs. So we're going to be adding some Electronic Wireless Show Easter eggs right here live on the air. You probably can't see it very well. I've got a very high resolution monitor, and I honestly could not figure out a way to just capture my editor window, so this might be difficult to see, but I'll talk us through everything that I'm doing here. So what I'm going to do is I want to add a trait to the game for each of the hosts of the Electronic Wireless Show. I've got a couple of things in mind that I can do. I think I want to start with Nate Crowley. So the thing that I want to do first off, though, when you're making an Easter egg, there's a couple things you have to keep in mind. One thing is you want to minimize work for other people because this is not going to be an important part of the game. This is not a thing that the entire team needs to devote all of their efforts to. This should be something that I can do almost entirely by myself, and just absolutely minimize the impact that this has on anyone else on the team. And so I'm going to try to create a couple of traits, 3 traits to be exact, that are very similar to existing traits and have a minimum chance of causing any problems in the game. And so I think for Nate Crowley, I want to make a trait that represents a career that he had prior to his career as a journalist, where he worked as aquarium security. So I think I'm going to grab the school teacher trait. I'm going to copy and paste this. I'm going to make this trait very much like the school teacher trait. So let's rename it to aquarium security. Okay, so this is animals, career, aquarium security. Now, let's make the weight of this trait very low. This is an Easter egg trait. We don't want it showing up everywhere else. So it'll show up about a third as often as the other quirk traits. And we're going to call this, should we say former aquarium security? Something like that. And for the description, we'll say, no one ever tapped on the glass while I was on duty. Okay, and so now we've got to worry about its tags. So the tags are what we use to make sure that the different traits that show up on a randomly generated character don't conflict with each other. So elementary school teacher had career, which says this is a job. So once you've given someone a former job, you don't give them another job. It says hero, which means that it has a hero bonus attached to it. So we know we make sure that every character's got at least one of those. Not rich. So this just means the character did not grow up rich. And so this is the kind of job they would have if they didn't come from a wealthy background. And I think that's pretty fair for aquarium security. And then career _ management. This indicates that this character has management experience. And I think I'm going to leave that off. Let's not add that because that just doesn't seem relevant at all. That's used for casting for missions and things like that. If you're trying to cast like a leaderly type character, sometimes you'll try to find someone who has management experience before you give them that kind of job. So, okay, the tags are taken care of. Again, pretty simple. The reason that I wanted to imitate, that I wanted to sort of copy and paste the school teacher was because she comes with actually a very rare skill. This is one of the few skills in the game that has absolutely zero relevant benefits to a zombie apocalypse survivor. And that skill is called Animal Facts. And so just like the school teacher the school teacher trait, we're going to have the aquarium security trait grant Animal Facts. So if somebody has Nate's trait, they will show up with a 5th skill that is completely useless to the community. But it shows that they know a lot about animals, which is actually true of Nate Crowley. So I think we've got... Okay, the last question is, what hero bonus should this have? And I have actually not put any thought into this whatsoever. Let's see here. So, we could say that if you're working at an aquarium, you could be good at maybe assembling a siphoning system. That might make sense. I would love it if, let's see here. Is there anything that has to do with, you know what? Morale storytelling. Because, the whole reason I know that Nate Crowley used to, do some form of security at an aquarium is because he's constantly telling stories about things like that. And so I think we're going to give morale storytelling as the hero bonus associated with this trait. And that means that, this will become one of multiple hero bonuses that any character with this trait could possibly select when they're being generated. Okay, and so, the very last thing I want to do, nicknames. So if a character has this trait, we can associate it with a set of nicknames. And so one I definitely want to make sure that it has available is Frog Croakley. We'll give it a very low incidence, so, we don't want to have a whole bunch of Frog Croakleys lying around. But Frog Croakley is, of course, his Twitter handle, and so I feel like that would make sense. And it seems like the kind of name that somebody, who worked at an aquarium might have. They probably have an amphibians department or something like that. So, I don't think it'll be completely out of left field for somebody like this to be named Frog Croakley. Okay, so there we go. That's what actually. Oh, one thing I can do is I can put a comment at the top, so any other designer who's looking through this later can be like, "What the hell is this?" I can explain why. So this is Easter egg based on that is not how you type, based on a rock, paper, shotgun podcast host. Cool. So now future designers will know what I was doing. Okay, so there's Nate. Let's come up with something for Matthew Castle. Now, I want to go down here. So I want these things again to be not extremely gameplay relevant. And so we'll grab one of our simpler stats. Let's grab the one about food consumption, because what I have in mind I think is probably appropriate for food consumption. Let's grab one of them that reduces food consumption. Or actually one of the ones that, let's grab one of the ones that is very simple. It's just about having a limited diet. So lives on pasta works for this one. Vegan works for this one. In fact, vegan has got the least going on for me to worry about copying and pasting. So let's copy and paste vegan. And instead of vegan, we're going to call this hates shiny food. So again, we want to make the weight of this pretty low. We don't want this to show up all the time. So hates shiny food. And let's just explain it like something. Oh, that's not good typing. Something about the way some foods glisten makes me feel sick. And having particularly good hygiene as a result of this actually might be a pretty good hero bonus to have. So I think these, not badass. Yeah, probably. Doesn't make this person a pacifist, though, the way that vegan did. Saves food. Let's just leave all of these off. Anything that was particularly special or would tie this trait into anything that's going on in the morale system or anything. Let's just leave all of that off. So let's keep this bonus. The bonus is that this decreases the food consumption of this person. So basically, anytime the community cook is cooking something that's shiny, this person won't eat. And so about a quarter of the time, this person is going to be eating less food than everybody else. And so that means that they're actually a good person to have in your community because they're not going to be eating a whole bunch of your food. And for nicknames, this is not going to have any effects on your skills or anything like that. But for nicknames, we should definitely let this person be called Basil Pesto. Again, pretty rare name, but that is of course his Twitter handle, Mr. Basil Pesto, and maybe it's probably Basil Pesto. Basil is the name. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I learned that from Ghost Dad, so don't listen to me. And then I want to do another one. Let's go with Chewy Sweets. That is a nickname that Matthew used on the latest episode of the podcast, and I thought it just seemed like particularly appropriate to somebody who's got, really strong food preferences. So somebody who has this trait could show up with the nickname Basil Pesto or Chewy Sweets. I think they both seem pretty unisex. I don't think I need to split them by gender or anything like that, so I think I'll just leave them where they are. And actually, I was thinking of something very similar for Alice Bell. So let's copy and paste this one again. rename it. And this one is going to be called Ate a Gorilla. So, let's see, how long can I make the name of this trait? Can we say once ate an entire gorilla? No, oh, it's too long. Ah, crap. So I might have to just say once ate a gorilla. It's funnier if it's entire gorilla. Because this is a reference to a time when she and Nate played this game that they play sometimes on the podcast called Sweeten the Deal, where one of them tries to get the other one to agree to do something horrific for a smaller and smaller amount of money. And so she actually showed a remarkable capacity to be willing to eat a gorilla under the worst circumstances, and it was amazing. And so, let's see here. So the backstory of this character is that they once ate an entire gorilla. I think we could say like I was holed up in a zoo. There weren't a lot of other options. But because this is no longer an attribute, like so hates shiny foods, I had that listed as an attribute, which means that it's just an intrinsic part of the character, and we actually let you have several of those if you want to on a given character. But this is no longer an attribute. This is now an after story. So after story means that this is a story about what happened to you after the apocalypse. And I don't let you have more than one of those on the same character because they could conflict with each other. And so, yeah, so once ate a gorilla is now after story. Consumption. Actually, you know what? This is badass. This is actually... so characters that are specifically being rolled up to be badass characters. Once ate a gorilla is pretty freaking badass. So we're going to go with that. So again, I think this is a consumption rate decrease because this person is willing to eat things that other people won't eat. And so I think that means that, a character with this trait probably is not going to be, like pulling from the general stock of food that the community has. They might be eating weird stuff on the side that no one else wants, and so they're actually going to be pulling less from the communal food than anyone else. And so I think that works. Now, as far as nicknames go, we're actually going to have to get into Mad Libs here because Alice is actually the main host of the podcast. She doesn't get weird names because what they do is, they're using some kind of, I don't know whether they're using Zoom or Squadcast or something like that, but they're using something that allows them to give themselves whimsical names. And so Nate and Matthew always have whimsical names. Alice never has one. And so I don't really have a lot of great nicknames for her. So I might just, use the name Alice Bell, but not together because that's like just way too targeted. So let's actually show how our Mad Libbing system works. So our Mad Lib system is something that basically, depending on who a character is or where they're going or something, we can change different parts of the text to be context appropriate. So I'm going to grab one because I always forget how this stuff works, and I have to just copy and paste stuff. I'm going to copy and paste something from. Did I fail? I think I failed. Let's do this again. Hold on. Let's grab this and paste it. Okay, so this is a nickname from a different one. So let's delete these existing names. And so what this is basically saying, check if the character is male, female, or non-binary, and give them a different nickname depending on which of those you find is true. So if they're male, we'll call them Belle. If they're female, we'll call them Alice. And if they're non-binary, I usually just go with the less intrinsically gendered of the terms. And so we'll go with Belle again. There we go. And so, yeah, so of course, I think nobody who didn't watch this video will have any idea that this is a reference to Alice Bell because they'll only get one of the names and it's just a completely off-the-wall trait. But so you'll end up with a character named Belle, or if they're male or non-binary, or a character named Alice if they're female, and it'll say in their traits that they once ate an entire gorilla, and it's just going to be a mystery. Why any of this is happening? But those of us who are in the know will know. So okay, so that's a trait for each of the hosts. There is one thing I wanted to make sure I did though. Let's see here. Do we? Because I don't want to be. I don't want to be outdone by the Apelegs team. And so I feel like I should track down the name. Do we have the name Alistair already in there? I was just thinking, we don't have the name Alistair in the game yet. So let's go grab Anglo-American rare names. Maybe a young person would have an old sounding name like Alistair. Let's add a new name, and let's say if we got a boy named Alistair, he'll probably just go by the name Alistair, but there's a small chance he might go by the name Alabaster Titan. So very small chance, like much more likely to just go by the name Alistair, but because it's kind of close, it could go by Alabaster Titan. And so we've also included the Alabaster Titan in the game. So I'm just going to save each of those. And so that's, when I save, there's an automatic process that converts those into actual files that Unreal knows how to use. So I'm going to make sure that that's going all right. Got to check out the files. All that stuff. I'll worry about it. Nobody needs to watch me go through all the business of actually checking out all these files properly and checking them back in again, stuff like that. I'll worry about that stuff later on. But so obviously, because I'm doing this right now, this is not going to be in our next update. Our next update is already very close to release. In fact, today's official State of Decay 2 stream is going to be all about that. So this will probably be in some future update, maybe, one closer to the end of the year, sometime in that time frame. But yeah, so I just wanted to do this publicly to, kind of, I don't know. I guess I just didn't want to be outdone. As a fan of that podcast, by the Apex Legends team. So I'm going to package this up as a YouTube video. I'll share it with the folks at the Electronic Wireless Show. Hopefully they'll enjoy it. I hope those of you who are in my chat right now enjoyed it too, just because it's kind of I don't usually give you folks this kind of look inside of our tools and how things work, and so I thought some folks might enjoy it, which is why I decided to do it live instead of just recording it. But yeah, so let me just wrap up the YouTube video real quick, and then the chat has been going crazy, and I should probably start answering people's questions and things like that. I just didn't want to do that as part of the official video. I wanted the video to be nice, slim, and concise. So, all right, let's just go to our end screen here. If you want to subscribe to my channel and see more weird State of Decay 2 content, you can click a little button right there. I'll put links to other videos, whatever you want to do. And now I'll actually pay attention to my chat.